Hey everybody, it's the top of the hour. That means you've got a couple more minutes to get ready. Grab a snack, get a drink, share the link out with your friends. The Suzette Veneti Show will begin in just about 2.5-ish minutes.
Now that I lost everything to you, you say you want to start something new, and it's breaking my heart you're leaving. Baby, I'm grieving. If you want to leave, take good care. I hope you got a lot of nice things to wear, but then remember nice things turn bad out there. Oh, baby, baby, it's a wild world. It's hard to get by just upon a smile. Oh, baby, baby, it's a wild world. Always remember you like a child girl. You know I've seen a lot of what the world can do, and it's breaking my heart in two. You know I never want to see you sad, girl. Don't be a bad girl. If you want to leave, take good care. I hope you make a lot of nice friends out there, but remember there's a lot of bad hair. Beware. Oh, baby, baby, it's a wild world. It's hard to get by just upon a smile. Oh, baby, baby, it's a wild world. Always remember you like a child girl. La, 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 la,
Welcome to the Virtual Stab Comedy Theater. It's time for the Suzette Veneti Show. Please welcome to your screen, Suzette Veneti.
Hi, thanks for tuning in to the Suzette Veneti Show. It's 5:03, so that means we're on time because we do things on the threes. It is, August 30th? So that means August is almost over, which means we only have 4 more months of 2020. So, yay! I have to start the show on a somber note once again because the Kenosha police shot Jacob Blake. They shot at him 7 times. They hit him in his back 4 times, and we already did this year. We do this every day, and it needs to stop. And it's disgusting that it happens, and my sympathies go out to Jacob Blake and everyone that's been shot, every black man, woman, and child that's been gunned down in the street by law enforcement. So I hope this is the time that change sticks, and we're hoping that people do what they can to affect change. Also, a solemn goodbye to Chadwick Boseman, who passed away yesterday. 2 days ago. But whether it was yesterday or 2 days ago, it was far too soon. So rest in power. With that, the world's still crazy. A teacher in Texas, Taylor Lifka, had a virtual classroom where she had virtual posters supporting Black Lives Matter and LGBT movements and rights. And the school district shut her down. They put her on suspension until everyone said, "Really?" And then they unsuspended her. So progress, I guess, maybe. The Roseville police are looking for a woman with blonde hair and a black tank top for using a stolen credit card. And I just want to say it wasn't me. I wear black tank tops sometimes, but it's not me. Brian Urlacher, a former football player for the Chicago Bears, is a big stupid idiot that he looks like. We didn't know that. IKEA and Lego collaborated on a product. It's called Ouch. Get it? Because you stepped on it. Melania's speech at the RNC was confusing, out of touch. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I mean Donald's speech at the RNC was confusing, out of touch, and full of lies and mistruths, yet somehow he was praised for it. Nope. Melania. I can't tell. They're the same. She was praised for it, most notably by writer Deanna Lorraine, who said the world needs more Melanias than they do Cardi B's. But I don't know. Cardi had the best reply with a 25-year-old nude picture of Melania. And the caption, "Didn't she used to sell that WAP?" Oh, crrr. Anyway, I guess Cardi still has time to stop making her own money and fame and eventually just marry a creepy old rich white guy, sign a prenup, wait till he wins the presidency, flex that loveless relationship by costing the taxpayers millions while you hold out on moving to the White House because you don't want to live in the White House with your creepy, wrinkly husband that bad. So instead, you hold out for a better prenup before you move to Washington. Yeah. Okay. Or you could just be Cardi B and make your own money, make your own name, run your own game. Yow. Go, Cardi. Trump confusingly called for a drug test before the presidential debates, claiming that Biden is pumped up. Trump said that this is a prize fight. It's not. No different than Roman gladiators. Very different. Except we have to use our brain and mouth, so completely different than Roman gladiators, because they weren't using their brains and mouths to fight each other or lions. I don't understand what drugs Trump thinks that Biden is taking or what drugs Trump thinks taking would be beneficial in a debate, maybe beside ginkgo. But he did brag that he wants to stand during the debate and everyone else always wants to sit. I don't know. I wouldn't brag if I was Trump and I looked like three toddlers sitting on each other's shoulders wearing an overcoat, because that's what his posture kind of looks like, and they're falling forward. Yeah, that's the jokes. With that,
Hold on.
yep.
Just changing the password for the room so that hopefully we can get everybody in. So let me just reopen this room.
Okay.
Just trying to get everything in here.
Well, I'll take a moment to say that if you are looking for live entertainment right now, I am a very tired girl because I hosted a drag brunch this morning at Badlands. We're doing it very safely. We're following all the COVID guidelines and suggestions, and it's every Sunday. It's called Makeup and Mimosas. You can find us on Instagram at Makeup and Mimosas Drag Brunch, and you can find us on Facebook at Makeup and Mimosas Drag Brunch. All the information is there, and we do 2 shows every Sunday. So if I look a little more haggard today, that's why. I've been up a very long time. But I'm excited to be here with you guys because I like being here with you guys, and it's a huge part of my Sunday. And I hope that you don't mind that we're starting 2 hours earlier. It's still light out, and it's nice. Also, it sucks to get home in the dark. And then the day's gone. So, like I said, Makeup and Mimosas Drag Brunch every Sunday. You can find it on Instagram, Facebook, and live and in person every Sunday at Badlands, 2003 K Street. So check it out. It'll be fun. I perform with the best drag queens in Sacramento, not included. I just get to perform with them. And it's a lot of fun, and they're amazing, and you might like it, especially if you like live entertainment. So check that out.
Well, we've got Dave in again, but we're
Okay.
still having a whole hard time with Juliana. So let me try. Go ahead and keep plugging away.
Okay, I'm going to keep plugging away. While you're watching this, I'm not sure if you just tune in for the Suzette Veneti show on Stab Comedy Theater Network, but you can also tune in to all the other programming that Stab has. Emma Haney has a fun show with Jesse where they play video games. Sometimes they do, what's the island one called? I'm old.
Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing.
Yeah, we had
That's
a bunch
right.
of that this morning.
The Radish. It wasn't that? What was it this morning?
Yeah, I mean, it was just our regular stuff.
Oh, okay. You can watch them by Radishes, and now you guys are having comedy shows in Animal Crossing?
Yeah, that's second and fourth Saturdays at 6 p.m. The new Ha Ha Horizons Animal Crossing Island Comedy Tour. All right, so now we've got it set up that hopefully, let me drop the link in there one more time. And let's see if we can make things work for everybody. Dave in there immediately again, right on top of it.
It's the green room, the virtual green room. Real green rooms are easy to get people in. People just walk in and you say, "There's the green room." But virtual green rooms, sometimes they can be tricky. I don't admit to having an OnlyFans, but sometimes things don't work. So, what are you gonna do, right?
Tried to set it to no password, but it still wanted a password. So let's see if this will work. One more time, or one more time after this.
I can tell you guys, your girl here, who's been looking for a Chromebook for a couple weeks, can't find one because there's an outage because all the students they're being bought up for all the students learning at home, which is really where kids should be. I don't want to get too preachy, but like everyone who sends kids to school, there's a COVID outbreak, and then the kids get sent home. So maybe just don't send the kids to school, because if it's not safe enough for businesses to open, it's probably not safe enough for your children to go to school.
All right, looks like we're ready. So
Looks like we're ready.
Just Dave and Julianna Budgett today?
It appears that it is.
All right, cool. Well, the Dave is sitting here all ready for you.
Okay. Without further ado, peers and queers, thank you for tuning in and hearing my TED Talk for the start of the show. And I'm going to bring in one of my favorite people, regular contributor to the show. You can find him on YouTube in his show In the Meantime. Please, I can't hear you, but put your hands together and help me welcome Mean Dave.
Hello.
Hey, Mean Dave.
Suzette at your new time. The new time, 5 o'clock. This is nicer. It's brighter out. And, this is good to kind of wake up to a little bit more, too, before usually I would do this segment after our 6 o'clock Zoom show, another terrible podcast by Comics in Isolation. But today I get to do it before. So this is good. I didn't catch your first bit because, I know we were having trouble with the Zooms and all that. What was your first, I assumed what your first bad news was going to be. What was it again?
I just referenced that Jacob Blake was shot at 7 times and hit 4 times.
That was horrible.
Yeah.
There's been, you can't, I actually got to make a meme that was very heartfelt. I should have probably uploaded it here, but for my background. But I rarely make memes. Not a big meme fan per se. There's only like 2 guys that make memes that really entertain me, and they're way into the fucking meme shit. But I made one today that was the scene in Pulp Fiction. That's the Mexican standoff with all of the with Jules, Sam Jackson, Tim Roth, aka Pumpkin, then Honey Bunny, which is Amanda Plummer, and John Travolta when he's coming out of the bathroom playing Vincent. And they all have their guns pointed at each other in the restaurant. And I basically, and the meme went something like, "This is America when you forget what Fonzie is like," and followed by "Bitch, be cool," because that seems to be what everybody's forgetting. There's been such a wonderful, contagious aspect to everything that's going on, and that's just an extreme desire to react to everything. I actually was working on a new joke in my set. It's hard to work on new jokes right now because we have Zoom comedy shows or whatever. But we did our drive-in show yesterday, and I don't know. It's hard to tell if the joke did well when it's just cars honking and flashing lights, and when you're hosting there, they're not quite warmed up yet. And it was basically the idea is that everybody's trying to get. Everybody just looks for any excuse to get into arguments, and it's the great unfriending of 2020 or the great unfollowing on all social medias and everything. And that I posted I made a post that just simply said, went to the grocery store, it was pretty empty, got my groceries, well done. And then people just started commenting on it. The first one was, "Oh, did you wear a mask, pussy?" Like I'm like, Jesus Christ, yes, of course I wore a mask because I had to, that's so I could shop like a pussy, so I could eat and feed myself like a pussy and whatnot, and and then the next comment after that was oh, how can you shop at a time like this? Don't you know that kids are being trafficked? And I'm like, Jesus Christ, everybody's just all of a sudden this like everybody, if you're not talking about child trafficking 24/7, there's something wrong with you, because apparently that's one of the if you're aware of the moronic groups, QAnon and all that, apparently that's what's wrong with everything, is there's not enough attention in the media and everything to child trafficking, as if it hasn't been going on this entire time, and whenever they do stop it or whatever, it's in the news. But apparently we need to have a 24/7 child trafficking network, according to this group. And that's one of those things that I just, I did my part in terms of curbing child trafficking by not having fucking kids. That helps. So I don't have another child out there that might get trafficked. And if you are one of these people who, this nation of irresponsibility that just has to not pull out and keep populating this fucking place with more dumb kids, keep an eye on them, because I'm not going to. It's not my job to look after your irresponsible choice. And keep an eye and get some background checks on anybody you leave them with. Because then maybe they won't get swooped up and trafficked, okay? And let alone hit by traffic, and I'm a child of the 80s. I was born in 76, but I grew up in the 80s. And when I was a kid, parents weren't this paranoid about this shit. They let kids go roaming out in the streets and going out by themselves. And there's a reason why. And that's because parents back then, they quite frankly wanted you to get kidnapped. They didn't care. They were just like, look, I made a mistake. Someone please take this kid off my hands. I'll buy you their Happy Meal. Speaking of which, right now, In-N-Out Burger was in the news. Right in the news, it was being shared that they've got a hotline now on their trucks and on their products. There's a hotline for people for tipping off information about child trafficking at In-N-Out Burger. Because that's what I always think when I'm eating a delicious burger is, how can I help save kids? I don't understand. I mean that's fine. That's great. That's a good. If it works, more power to you. Because we all know that all child traffickers love In-N-Out Burger. And I would think. The fact is, if you really wanted it to work, I would think McDonald's would get on board. They're the ones who put out Happy Meals. Those are like the most popular meals with kids, right? Put that shit on the Happy Meal, because most likely it'll be on the box when the kid gets fucking snagged, and hopefully somebody comes across it, the kid's crying or whatever, it's like, oh, let's check out this Happy Meal you got, and oh, good, a hotline, and you're perfect. Anyway, because if you ever stumble across like a dungeon of kids, it's like, oh, quick, let's get In-N-Out on the phone, so that way I can get a burger and make sure that these kids are rescued. I don't know. It's just one of those things that just, it's a red herring thing that got brought up these days, and we used to have, I remember this kind of stuff was really more popular when To Catch a Predator was on the air. And then I had to remind myself why To Catch a Predator was canceled. And there was a reason why. It's because one of the guys that they caught on there shot himself, killed himself. which based on the way people behave today, you would think that they would, that wouldn't be a cancelable offense. And so I was looking up what Chris Matthews has been up to since, and he is trying to like bring he has like some segment, like a To Catch a Predator segment on whatever show he's got on now, and all this kind of. I'm just trying to think of more ways just so that these people that constantly have child trafficking on the brain can just shut the fuck up, really, quite frankly, because those of us without kids, it's. I do my part again by, if I see your kids around, guess what I'm not looking at? Your fucking kids. Because I'm not a child predator. Not only that, I have no interest. I don't even like your kids. I mean, even the kids I like, even my nephews and nieces, they're fine and all that. Zero interest in them. I'm like, I don't want to know about their lives and all that kind of stuff. I got to, they care about their uncle, whatever. They don't give a shit. And so that's just one of those things. It's, and what are they going to do? Why are we keeping them around? So they can grow up into the adults that are all unfriending each other over the politics of today. Because everybody's intolerant. Nobody's looking to find common ground. Everybody's a bigot of some kind, and it's unfortunate, but you know what? It's awfully entertaining in the shelter in place. And I just hope that everybody does, I just hope people could just lighten the fuck up. Granted, there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of injustice, and it's on. Also, the fun part today was watching people. There was that guy, I guess, got shot in Portland last night. Guy got shot, and he was I guess he was in the protest thing. Rumor has it he was one of the Patriot Prayer guys or whatever. So he's like a Trump supporter. He's part of the pro-Trump rally, and of course I have still those those fucking friends that share the thing. They're like, why isn't the media talking about this? And I'm like, it's literally all over the fucking media right now. What exactly? What do you want to bury? You want a story buried like up your butt and out your mouth in order for it to be? What exactly do you need for this to? Because it's everywhere. And they're like, oh, I just didn't see it on TV. I'm like, who watches TV still? Like everybody's on their phones, man. I'm like, it was the top story on my phone. I took a screenshot of it and sent it to him, and he was like, oh yeah, well it's on the internet, of course. I'm like, that's where everybody gets their fucking news, moron. And then there's a bunch of people. There was a lot of people that were going on and on about. I'm hearing myself in the thing. There were a bunch of people going on and on after that, saying like, "Oh, this is really sad. People getting killed over their political beliefs." And I said, "I know, it really is sad. It would be, it's kind of like, getting killed over something like, I don't know, the color of your skin." And of course, nobody had a response to that. So yeah, let's just. I'm just hoping that people can kind of lighten the fuck up a little bit on all sides and stop shooting each other and all that stuff. I know it's weird. I really do know that there's a problem with police, brutality and police procedure and murder these days. I also have a couple friends that are police officers, and which is really strange for a guy who's did a lot of drugs and drank a lot, and I know them, and it's a weird thing to know. They got good senses of humor too, because I remember making a joke a while back saying that if you want to let a police officer know how it feels, step on a donut in front of an officer and make sure it's a jelly donut so they can see the blood. And one of my police officer friends clicked like on that joke. So I was like, he's a cool officer. He's got a sense of humor. So anyway, beyond that, I think I'm wrapping up with this.
Before you go,
yes.
One point of correction, because I did the same thing last week. I was talking about To Catch a Predator, and I also said Chris Matthews.
Chris Hansen.
Chris Hansen. Yeah.
I don't look like a Predator. Come on, man. That was easy mistake to make. They're both
for
shit.
Sure. I did the same thing last week, and somebody caught me. And I just I don't think Chris Matthews is one of our viewers, but I don't want him.
No, Chris Matthews is dead.
Well, then he's not.
Yeah, well, no, Chris Matthews is. Let me make sure. Let me look that up there real quick.
I think he just left his job.
No, Chris Matthews, because he was one of those guys that died. Let me see, Chris Matthews, commentator, looking it up. Ah, fuck, he's still alive. You're right.
Well,
74.
We're breaking news on the show.
Why is he alive? And
Chris
we lose
Matthews
to
is
T'Challa?
alive.
We lost to T'Challa. That's one other thing too. I want to give one little quick, because that's what I kind of wanted to get to, is as you mentioned, some sad news, and this is the saddest news, that we lost the Black Panther. I'm a huge fan of the MCU. I became familiar with Chadwick Boseman because of his portrayal of the Black Panther, which was incredible, one of the best characters in the MCU, and to hear that he, had been dealing with cancer for the last 4 years was, heartbreaking, but also incredible that he put out an amazing body of work. He's the same age as me too. I'm like, man, way to make me feel like I haven't done much with my life. But and the thing about it is, like, I also was doing another podcast called The Trash, which is my friend Sarah Jam-Bruno and her boyfriend Nate Spears' podcast. And the subject of that podcast was watching this motherfucker's show, Bret Michaels, his My Life as I Know It show that was 1 season long. That was basically him just showing trying to pretend that he was a good dad and a good boyfriend to a woman that he proposed to at the end, who accepted, but they never got married. And I'm like, this piece of shit had, like, he came close to death and somehow he lived, but we lose T'Challa. And I would very easily, I would exchange this dude any day of the week to get T'Challa back, because I want to see Black Panther 2, but that's not in the cards. So.
Well, I think they're still gonna make it. I think they're just gonna.
They won't. They'll make it, but if I know, that's the thing. Of course, it hasn't even been. Body's not even cold yet, and everybody's trying to, like, don't recast, don't whatever. I'm like, even if they do, they'll make sure it's like I who knows what they'll do. It's amazing what Marvel fans. That's America today. It's like somebody dies who's in an iconic role, and we're already worried about. We're worried more about us. Dear Marvel, please don't. It's like, motherfucker.
Well, to be a comic aficionado, they will not recast. I'm positive, because the mantle.
I wouldn't put it.
The mantle of Black Panther goes to Shuri in the comics, his sister.
It's business, and I just say, if anything, if Marvel ever were to recast it, they would do. Marvel Studios would do it excellently. They've only done right by all their characters and all that stuff. And if they do figure out a way to, like, because that was the other thing, is to make the sister become the new Black Panther, which is something from the books, that would also be awesome. There's many ways they'll do it, and they'll find a way. It'll be awesome if we ever get out of COVID and are able to go to the fucking movies again. So who knows?
I'm optimistic.
I am too, but not so much about luxuries like that. I'm more optimistic of just the day to day. I'm alive, got my needs met, I'm good. So.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, and I'm glad that we got to hang out today.
No child has been trafficked around me, so that's a plus. It's a positive. Always vigilant.
Well, I'm glad you're well, and I'm glad we got to hang out.
Right on.
And thanks for coming on 2 hours earlier, Dave.
Oh, you're welcome. I'll be here next Friday or next Sunday at 5:00, whatever the fuck it is.
Cool. We'll be here at 5:03, so I'll see you then, and
see you then.
I'll let you go to your Zoom comedy show.
Will too.
All right. Bye. Love you.
Bye.
All right, Peers and Queers, that was Mean Dave. You can tip him. His information was on the screen. Make sure to send him some coin, because we're all working hard to bring you this show. Also, Stab Comedy Theater right above my head. Send them some coin, too. And with that, I'm going to bring on one of the hottest drag queens. She is a rising star in the Central Valley and Sacramento area. You can catch her digitally in a variety of shows. In the real world, you can catch her almost everywhere. And right now, you can catch her on Wednesday nights on Into the Draglands, which is on work.com. That's work, WERRRK.com. Or you can go to YouTube and search Into the Draglands. So make sure you catch her there. Peers and Queers, give it up for Julianna Budgett. Oh, some technical difficulties. Julie, can you hear me?
Am I on?
You are, baby.
Yes.
Hi.
Oh, okay. I was like, let me stand as still as possible and smile so that I look like I'm frozen. Hi
Yeah.
there. How you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. I was so excited to get into drag today because I don't get into drag as often as I used to, and miss looking so pretty.
Oh, I think you look very good tonight. So thank you for joining us and getting into drag.
Thank you. No, Kristen. Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. When Helen was like, oh, Suzette's going to do this little talk show and she's going to interview people that got eliminated. And then you asked me to be on. I was like, do I get eliminated this week?
Well, I can't say.
You kind of almost spoiled it for me because I thought.
Well, okay, so here's the tea on that. And just for our audience watching, so you are they've seen Helen Heels if they watched the show because she was on the show sometime, I think in June. And Helen is hosting
my drag mother, by the way.
Indeed. We'll get to that question because, that's my aunt. So I got to hear some good stories about your mom. So she's hosting a show called Into the Draglands. Why don't you tell the audience about it?
Okay, so there are a collection of 8 local performers in the Sacramento, Stockton, Modesto area. And we were all given the same criteria of 8 looks, 8 challenges, and we all had to just do our best at whatever we wanted to put out there. And we all performed in very safe, quarantine, social distance bar, for lack of better words. It was a bar with nice curtains. And someone gets eliminated every week. I'm lucky enough to last the first 2 weeks, and I'm hoping to last the 3rd week. It is on either YouTube on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. or on work.com. That's work with 3 R's. They could have put 3K, at 8 p.m. on Wednesday. And
Yes.
I'm hoping to win. I'm hoping to win. I swear to you, I entered that competition thinking, you know what? My drag mom she put this whole thing together, but she doesn't get a vote. She does not vote whatsoever. So there is no favoritism in this judgment. So I have to do really, really hard work just to win this thing. I'm really excited to show everything that I performed. So I'm hoping I don't get eliminated soon.
Well, so to answer your question, and I'm not saying you do or don't get eliminated, but I shifted what I was going to do because I was going to see if I could do an official elimination show after the fact, but I didn't talk to Helen enough to find out how she felt about it, and then I never checked with Jesse to see how he felt about it to do it a whole separate thing. So I'm not saying you go on or get eliminated, but I'm not interviewing queens who were eliminated on this show. So.
Oh, on this show.
Yeah. This is just because I wanted to bring you on this show for a while. So I'm just glad to have you on the show.
God. Because I saw that Bijou came and had a really great time, and you had another drag queen. I know you've had Helen, but you had somebody else recently. I was searching up. I looked it up in the YouTube. I was like, who? Let me get a reference about what question she's going to ask me, because if I'm not prepared, I will be damned.
Well, so we had Honey LeBronx recently. We had Aurora Lottmore. We had Apple Adams.
Aurora was the one that I saw that I watched.
So Aurora and I.
Bijou
go ahead.
When it premiered.
Yeah.
Bijou when it premiered.
Mm-hmm. And Aurora and I had a pretty great conversation about drag moms and drag families. And since you kind of touched on that, you mentioned that your drag mom, Helen Heels, is hosting the show. Your drag mom, Helen Heels, is the hardest working drag queen in Northern California, and one of the most popular drag queens in Northern California. What's it like to have Helen as a drag mom?
She's definitely always there if I need her, because she's just like Rebecca has always said, she's definitely like a Mighty Mouse. She is a superwoman. She can get anything done. She's very talented. She's very beautiful. She could use a little work on, no, I'm just kidding. She taught me the basics of makeup, and I took it and I ran with it. Being her drag daughter, I would say, is a lot of heels to fill, if pun intended, because her foot is bigger than mine. But I would say that although I claim her as my mother and she claims me as her daughter, I think that it's well known that I've kind of made my own sort of name in this sort of and as much as I love her and as much as I love to claim her as my mentor, I won't take the name, but I will honor it by being a good drag queen, hopefully.
So what would you say if you kind of made your own name and she taught you the basics of makeup? Was there any other way that you learned from her still, or learned from her?
So we've definitely had like time in the studio where we've had to like, I performed numbers for her that I felt I might do in the future, and she's given me notes, or we've done little like 8 counts just to break me out of the casual drag queen 8 counts that drag queens are known to do.
That's cool.
She always gives me notes, or wanted or unwanted, she will give notes, whether if I ask or not, on the drive home, because she usually drives me somewhere. I'm Miss Daisy. She's I almost said Mel Gibson. She's God, and that's just the way that it goes, because I don't drive yet, but she's a good mother and she takes me wherever I need to go when I need to go.
Let's say Morgan Freeman and not God, because we don't want Helen getting a Shirley MacLaine like head.
She doesn't want. Okay, listen. Don't call her Shirley, but she already has a big Shirley MacLaine head, and it's in. That's why her tuck always looks so meaty.
So she does give notes. So she's your mom, but I claim her as my drag aunt, and I don't know how she feels about that. But I say it enough that I think people believe me. And so she gives me notes on things, and I really like it, to be honest. I'm sure you get different notes because you have a different relationship. And I kind of have more of that aunt relationship where it's a little more distant and it's a little more like, I see what you're doing and I want you to be good. But like,
I know I have a whole thing going on here.
What do you got going on?
But yeah, you have an aunt relationship. Mm-hmm. So like an aunt relationship as in she lifts like 6 times her weight, or like an aunt, like aunt, uncle, kind of has a hair on her complexion. Mm-hmm. I get that energy coming from you too. How long have you all known each other? I know that you're supposed to be talking and interviewing me, but I want to know.
No, that's fine. No one ever asked me questions. It's nice. I've known Helen. So I've known of Helen longer than I've known her, because I think you can understand what I'm about to say, and just so the audience understands, when you start out as a new performer, be it in drag or comedy or whatever it is, when there's someone who has orbit, like Helen definitely has her own orbit, and when you get into that person's orbit,
gravitational pull, yeah,
you know them, but they might not know you. So I'm not sure exactly when we became acquaintances and friends, but I would say it's been at least 2 years since she knew who I was.
At least 2 years she knew who you were?
Yeah.
So is that because she didn't want to talk to you, or because you were too shy?
No, I'm not shy. I think it's because when you're a new performer, and I'm saying this as myself, being a new performer, sometimes you don't know if people are going to stick around. Sometimes people pick up things and they do them for 6 months, a year, and then they quit. And so I think maybe I just wasn't, and Helen is wonderful, and she meets everybody, and she says hi to everybody. And so I'm not saying that she didn't, care. I'm saying I just don't think I was on her register, because when you start performing in Sacramento, we start at after hours, and Helen's not always at after hours. So if the bulk of my performances were at after hours, she might not have known I existed. I don't think it was until I started performing in bigger shows that I kind of, and maybe at that point it wasn't shyness, but I also wanted to kind of make sure that if I was going to introduce myself, that there was something to introduce. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense.
I understand what you mean. So you met her at like after hours. I think after hours is a good place to meet people that are going to book you.
Oh, it can be.
Because that's kind of where I got, not where I got my start for sure, but I remember going to after hours one time, and I won the little, this was back when there was a competition and they give you a little prize at the end of the day. Is that when you were doing it?
No, I started after hours in 2017. So it was a little bit different.
Oh, okay. Well, I know when it was a little competition, after I went once and I got my keys stuck in somebody's trunk. No, not my keys. My ride got their keys stuck in their trunk, and they had to pay $200. But I won, so I won $25, and I gave it to them that night. But I did win, and I didn't get booked after that at Faces. So, shout out to Merck and Apple for giving us a place to, and Rubik's for giving us a place, starter performers a place to perform.
Oh, absolutely. That's such an important, and we've talked to, Apple was here, and we talked a little bit about after hours because
she's one of my favorite local drag queens, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, there's no secret that she's my favorite, so we could talk about that for a while. But what,
okay. Well, I was keeping the secret from you out of generosity, but okay.
Okay. What they do is you're right. It's really important that they give new performers a place to perform, and not just new performers, but like if you wanted to go there to work on something that you were unsure of, maybe you want to test it out in front of a crowd and not just Helen, you could do that at after hours. So
yeah.
Really,
or if it was, I remember there being, this was after there was like prize money. So I was obviously not going for money or tips or anything, but there's always a cool theme that like superheroes or something that you want to, that you have a number in the back of your mind that you just want to show off to the children in Sacramento, and that you would win if it was still a competition, but you won't win because it's not a competition. But yeah, they have great themes, and they're coming back at Capitol Garage. So hopefully I will find the time to go and watch that show with a mask on.
Yeah, it's the Apple and Merc Hour, I believe, is what they're calling it at Capitol Garage. So it's always an awesome thing to when established queens like Apple and Merc pay it forward and give talent a place to perform. Because sometimes that's the only thing stopping people from getting noticed is they don't have a stage and a platform. So
Right.
I agree that that's awesome.
And they're good at it. They're great hosts.
Oh, they're fantastic hosts.
Both of them.
And to bring it full circle, speaking of fantastic hosts, I think that it probably was at an after hours that I met Helen. It was definitely when she was doing the sleigh ground at Faces. But, certainly we've become closer over the last year and a half as we've done a lot more shows together. So that's been really cool for me. And I can imagine that she's a pretty supportive drag mom.
Well, yeah, and what people need to understand, especially, people that might see her at after hours in the future when we're not going through this hellhole, is that if you are a new queen and you walk up to her and say, I want you to be my drag mom, she's going to say no. But, she might say yes to a drag niece. She might give you criticisms because she loves to talk shit. But please don't ask Helen to be your drag mom because I'm the only one, and I will cut you. But other than that, I wish you all great luck.
Well, it's kind of a thing in, and you know, we've never talked about this on the show, so if you have any thoughts, but to walk up to a drag queen and immediately say, "Would you be my drag mom?" is a big ask. It's a huge ask, and I don't want to say it's a faux pas, but I would say if you see a drag queen and you admire them and you want to start drag, don't ask them to be your drag mom. Just ask them what you can do to get started. And if a relationship forms, be it mother or aunt or just friend, just a good Judy, which is a term, in case my audience doesn't know, for a good drag friend, then that's cool. But, you know.
Which is a good thing to be. The best thing to be is a Judy, because one, they tell you, you know, they give you advice in the background, but they're not your drag mom, so they can't, like, tell you what to do.
Yeah. Well, and some people need a drag mom, and that's, you know, if you find a drag mom and somebody, let them make the offer, you know? That's what I would say. We had Honey LeBronx on last week, and her drag mom is Bob the drag queen. But Bob,
nice.
But Bob the drag queen actually said, "I'll be your drag mom." So, and Honey said, "Yeah, okay, thanks. I would love that." Or something along those lines. So, you know, let that happen naturally. Don't force it, because it is a big ask, especially for a drag mom like Helen, who I'm sure maybe she's not investing a lot of time with you in terms of, like, at this point, like, you know, doing things for you, like painting you but it's an emotional investment, and it's
for sure
a very serious feeling, I want to say. So
yeah, I would say that of a lot of my friends, my drag mother is probably in the close 3 people, like my close 3 people circle that I have. My drag mother is definitely in there, just because, honestly, but like you were saying, how it just formed naturally. I had never really expected her, to call her my drag mom, just because I guess, like, I don't know, maybe I just wanted more advice, less than a relationship. But after a while, she would start to introduce me as, "Oh, this is Julianna Budgett. If I had a drag daughter, this would be my drag daughter." And then it turned from that, because I started, you know, getting a little better. And she was like, "This is my drag daughter. She does things, and you should book her." And, you know, so I think that there's a give and take between me and her, because she gets to say that I'm her drag daughter, and I get to say that she's my drag mother, and that's like the payment that we have between each other. It's a payment, but it's also a loving relationship that didn't start intentionally.
For sure. And because she's my aunt and she's your mother, that makes us cousins.
That makes us cousins. That means, you know what that means?
Tell
in
me.
several states, we can get married.
Oh. Which states?
Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, you know, Kentucky, Idaho.
Okay, well.
But that's only for my own personal benefits.
So what have you been up to during the pandemic, beside the Draglands?
So I have either been 3 things. I've either been playing video games, editing a picture that I'm going to upload, or watching Into the Draglands and being nervous about the next Into the Draglands that's going to come out. That's what I've been spending my time doing.
So when you're watching it, I guess what was it like to film, first of all?
So as a kid, I actually just wrote a paper about this. And as a kid, I used to carry around like a karaoke machine with a microphone with low cassette tape. And I would record myself like interviewing people and just like pretending that I was on like a show. So when I got there, I was like, "Oh, this is it. This is fun. I love this. I'm on set. I'm shooting. Where's the camera?" Oh, my phone's on 10% battery. I said, you know, where's the camera? Close up. Well, not too close, but you know, close enough. And but I was also very nervous because I knew that I was going to be judged in the future by people that weren't even there. But I knew that going into the competition that I wanted to do numbers that I felt couldn't be done in a club setting, in a club setting that drag queens usually perform at.
Mm-hmm.
2, I wanted to do numbers that I have already wanted to do, like numbers I already had planned but wasn't able to do. And 3, I wanted to do stuff that really meant something to me, that I have been thinking about. Like I said, like these were things that I had already planned to happen after quarantine, but you know, we get to see them a little earlier, and hopefully I'll get to do them after quarantine. But they, like in my little bio, when I sent it into work.com, work with 3 R's, I said that a lot of my performances that are coming up are passion projects that I just didn't feel like I was comfortable doing in a bar. So hopefully that shows, and the audience gets to see how passionate I am about every single category that we're given.
So you mentioned that you filmed and you did all your performances. What was it like to perform? And it was in a bar, but it was during COVID, so there was no one there, like no audience. So what was that like? Is that new for you?
So definitely new. It was filmed at Sidetrack. So like, I mean, I performed there before, and it's one of my favorite places to perform. So I wasn't that out of my setting, like out of my element, because the only thing that was different was the curtains all around, and there was a nice air condition right in front. And there was no people other than the people that were filming. Luckily, for a lot of my numbers, I, at least in my humble opinion, I felt I did well enough to get a reaction from the crew, and it helped me realize what take should I, because we were only given 2 takes, and I thought, okay, they react better to this one, to that one, so I'll pick that one. Even though they were told not to show any reaction, they showed a little reaction for me, and I took advantage of that. So I really hope that shows, and you know, I get up to the top 3, and maybe you'll be interviewing, next time we interview, you'll be interviewing the winner of Dragland.
It's possible.
It's possible. It's possible.
I know nothing, so I can't tell you, because I'm just.
Well, yeah, no, that's why I didn't come with questions for you.
Yeah. What's it like to watch? So now you explained what it was like to film. What was it like? What is it like to watch it when because you're watching yourself on a broadcasted show, and this is on YouTube and work.com, which is a huge drag channel. Is it exciting? Is it nerve-wracking? What are you feeling when you're watching?
Okay, so it's definitely nerve-wracking. The first episode I watched alone. I watched alone, and I live streamed it. And I just told myself, you know, this is probably not the worst week for me. I feel pretty confident in this week. I think I'll be fine. So I wasn't nervous. And I thought, they can't kick somebody off the first week. That would be horrible. So I wasn't too nervous, and I watched that alone. But the second week, I watched with a little bit of people, which it was musical theater week. And I didn't really, I wouldn't say that I expected to win, but I knew that there was a lot of pressure on me, because I sometimes credit myself as a musical theater-y queen. And I didn't win, and that was a little like, well, shit, here I am in front of all these people that expected me to win, and I didn't. And that was a little embarrassing, but I wasn't that embarrassed. Like I lived through it, and I didn't go home. I was safe. I wasn't in the bottom, so that's something to be happy about, I guess. But definitely nerve-wracking.
Well,
but at the same time, oh my God, I'm on TV.
Yeah.
You know.
And I can say, you know, I watched the episode, and Tilly Creams won it, and she really delivered. So
she did.
no
She
shame
did.
to anybody that didn't win, because Tilly stole the show. So
So I agree because I'm glad that I'm saying this because when I was deciding my numbers for the categories, I figured my first number is going to be a musical theater number that's fun, and I know everybody likes it. So I probably shouldn't do the same thing for week 2. You know, I want to show a little diversity. So I made a choice to do a ballad, and what happened was 2 other girls decided to do the same thing, and I was a little outdone by somebody else, and that's totally fine. I'm happy for Tilly for sure, but I'm upset for Julie. But happy for Tilly.
that's okay, because like you said, you're safe. You're back for week 3. And
yeah.
the preview is out. So what is the competition in week 3?
You said the theme?
Yeah.
Okay. So the theme, like the category is alternative. So we had to bring something out that was a little more like rocker or like, you know, hot topic, stuff like that, alternative. It can mean, you know, several things. And that was actually something that I was pretty nervous about because it's not something that I'm super familiar with performing that sort of genre of music. But like I said before, there was something, there was a performance that I had already had planned in my mind. So I went ahead and did that. And I hope it shows how much I liked that song and doing that number and how much I spent on like my costumes for each performance. But I hope everybody tunes into this next one because this one has me shaking in my boots.
What time?
The confident girl.
What time does it air?
8 p.m.
8 p.m.
8 p.m.
Okay, and that's on work.com. Work with 3 R's.
Work.com with 3
I said
R's
all morning.
or on YouTube.
I don't like to work with any R's. I just don't like to work. So
Same here, girl.
That's how you can.
Well, listen, you're doing this and you're interviewing me, so I think you have a great job.
Oh, I love my job. It's like that song. Like I'm on vacation because I love my occupation. So now when you're watching,
and I don't masturbation. What?
When you're watching the show, and everyone should tune in this Wednesday at 8 p.m. Because it has you nervous, but you're optimistic based on your performance.
I am nervous and I am hopeful. I won't say optimistic, but I will say I'm hopeful.
Okay.
I am nervous and hopeful.
Okay. Well, I think anyone watching will be hopeful with you. What's it? So there's a thing that we all have to deal with as performers, especially drag performers, where we are on the internet and strangers can kind of assess and judge and critique. And what's it? I mean, do you have a lot of experience with that before this?
Okay, so I can't say that I have personally, maybe once or twice, but they weren't enough for me to remember, I guess. But maybe once or twice I experienced a little bit of, like somebody said that I wasn't as pretty as somebody else, and it was just like, oh, whatever, I don't even know you. I would say that I hate it. It's not, if I hate anything, I don't hate anything, anybody, anything like that. But I do hate bullying and online bullying and stuff like that. It's just, what's the point? What are you gaining out of that? I don't like to do it, unless it's my friends. I like to pick on my friends because they're just, that's how I show my love. But what was the question?
I think you answered it.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So what do you think about performing digitally? I mean, so this is all digital. So do you like digital? Because you were hosting along with Bijou Bentley, who my guests might remember from our premiere show.
Yes.
You hosted a digital show. So all of a sudden you were performing digitally, which is new for all of us. And you're hosting, which, correct me if I'm wrong, is new for you. What did you think about performing digitally, and what did you think about hosting?
Okay, so performing digitally at first was like, okay, I can get into this for a little bit. Lasted a little longer than I thought. But performing like live digitally, like like this. That's how the Bijou and Juliana, or Juliana Bijou, a digital drag show originally started. Like, it was live drag, live drag performances. And then it kind of transitioned into pre-recorded while somebody's hosting live. And I'm not super tech savvy, so the pre-recorded stuff has been a struggle for me. But luckily I'm taking some video and audio classes now. So hopefully y'all will see some quality Julianna Budgett content coming up. But yeah, no, it's definitely been a struggle for me, but it has been very, how do I say, inspiring to see what a lot of queens and a lot of kings performers have been doing online. Like, Katana Ray is so technically genius. Like, I think that they need to, Robert T. Yoshino needs to work for Warner Brothers or like something, or I encourage them so much to go into that as like the field of filming and editing and stuff, because they are amazing. And not just Katana, but so many people, local drag queens and drag queens that have just been doing stuff with their computers and editing videos and music videos. It's been really fun to sit back and watch. Also, Bijou Bentley has a fun show idea that possibly coming up in the not so distant future. So it's a good idea. Everybody has great ideas for digital stuff nowadays. So I think it's a good starting point for the next big thing. But I'm ready to be back into the bars for sure.
So that does bring up my next question is now we've all been performing digitally for about 4 months or so, because it didn't start right away, because everyone was like, no, we're going to be back in the clubs in like 3 weeks. And then we weren't, and then we weren't, and then we weren't again. So what do you miss about performing live?
Definitely the feeling, the fantasy of just feeling like the most beautiful thing in the world, and the person that I'm looking at, that I'm pretending to sing to, agrees with me, and they agree with me so much that they would pay me to lip sync in front of them. That is just so crazy to me. That is a crazy idea in my mind, that I can pretend to sing something to you while doing this for a good whole 8 counts, and you'll pay me for it? I miss that. That's what I miss. That's what I miss the most. But I promise you, as soon as I go out as like a boy and I'm just there like watching a drag show, I'm gonna enjoy the drag show, but I'm gonna be like, I wanna go home. I miss my video games. Like, I'm hungry. That's gonna be me.
So you're very much a boy when you're a boy, and a queen when you're a queen.
I'm a queen all the time.
Oh.
That's another thing, that going back to the question about how it was on set, the crew, I will give you a little inside. The crew often called me a diva, the diva of the filming situation. I won't say, I will neither confirm or deny whether I am hard to work with or not, but I will say I appreciate the compliment.
I will not admit to being a diva or not. It's a fun mystery for people to try to figure out, which I am. So I get that. When you perform for drag, what goes into preparing? Is it the same to your preparation, whether it's digital or live?
It's kind of, right now I'm like, I have to think back and remember performing live, what that was like. Very much different, because when you're in a box like this, you only have so much to do. You can't spend an 8 count grabbing a whole dollar from one person. You have less time to work with, you have less space to work with, but you also have more opportunity to use props that come out of nowhere, or like a fucking scrunchie that was just lying there. You have so much opportunity to use your small box that you can't see my right hand over here. You don't know what it's doing. So there's plenty of opportunity to create fun content being behind a camera like this, but it's definitely very different to what I'm used to and what I think is the most rewarding, not only because, you know, they're actually giving you a dollar bill, but because it's human interaction. It's what people need. It's being half a drink in and halfway through a number, and this guy with a dollar bill in his mouth is coming up to you, and you're like, I don't want to do this, but I guess I have to. That's what I miss.
Yeah. Now, you said something that made me think of a question. I need to remember what it was. You are a theater queen, you'd say. Now, so you said this is different acting for you because you're used to being on stage and not so much in front of a camera.
Yeah. I started in theater in like high school, and I continued it some. I'm gonna grab my charger just in case this thing dies on me.
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask that. Do we need to wrap it up? Is your phone gonna make it?
I'll put this bitch on the charger and
okay.
And then we'll see. I also have my drink here, so.
Are you there? Did we? Julie? Okay, we'll just wait and see if maybe because my phone does that sometimes. I don't know about anyone else, but it's like, you have 10%. And I'm like, better get you on a charger. And I go to the charger and I plug it in, and it's like, I'm dead. And I'm like, what happened to all 10 of that percent? Where did it go? Why did it disappear so fast? I feel a little betrayed, but that's just me and my phone. We'll see if we can get Julie back, because we weren't quite done with her. But we also can only do what technology will let us. Okay, we'll see if she comes back. What other shows are at Stab coming up?
Well, we just keep rolling stuff out. In fact, a new show debuting tomorrow at 5 o'clock, Monday at 5. It's Sketchy Friends. It's Milk and Bree. It's a Milk Surface. I forget Bree's last name. She's new to me. She's a friend of Milk's. They do a drawing show where they challenge each other to draw like characters from memory, or to draw their interpretation of characters that they've never even seen. And the best thing about it is all answers are right, or at least they're what they should have been. So that's a lot of fun. And then Happy Time Arcade following that at 7. And we'll just continue vamping to give Julie any chance.
She's back on her way in.
Oh,
so
nice.
Happy Time Arcade is you and Emma.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorites. I love to watch that and comment along.
Oh, looks like she's connecting. Getting unmuted, hopefully.
Okay, we've resurrected a drag queen.
Almost. All right, there she is.
Julie?
Are we back?
We're back. Welcome back.
Isn't that funny?
Well, you know, I need to make commercials, so when that happens, we just throw to commercial. Okay. That's on me. Sometimes when you're blonde, you forget things. Preparing for a drag show.
I'm brunette by choice.
What, me?
No, me.
Oh.
Today, I'm brunette by choice.
Brunette by choice? Well, yeah, I'm not a natural blonde, but everyone knows that. So when you prepare, you paint. I mean, when people look at me and they say, your makeup is amazing, it's like, is it? Or is it just there? But
okay, well, let me ask you, who's been lying to you?
Who's been lying to me about my makeup being there? It's there.
I'm totally joking. I love you, cousin.
I love you too, cousin. So we paint very differently. How long does it take you?
Today I was surprised actually. I looked at the clock and it was 2. And I thought, oh shoot, I need at least 3 hours to do my makeup. Let me start. And about an hour and a half in, I was like, oh man, I'm already setting my spray. I don't have my lashes and my lips on, but I'm already setting. So it takes me anywhere between an hour and a half and 3 hours. That's what I can tell you. Just depends on how lazy I am that day, I guess.
Well, 3 hours is a long time. What takes so long? Has it ever changed the time, or has it always been 3 hours?
Honestly, it used to be longer, but that was just because I've always been like a perfectionist, and that doesn't mean that my makeup is perfect. Let me tell you that. My makeup is definitely not perfect, but I am that type of person that just like goes really slow and tries to make everything perfect, and it usually ends up uglier than if I like rushed. But I think what takes the longest is probably my eyes. For
Really?
sure.
Really?
Yeah. For my birthday, what's funny is quarantine started about like a week or two before my birthday, and we were supposed to have like a night of 1,000 Juliannas, and everyone was gonna do like my makeup, and people actually tried, and it's not the easiest feat. Because every time I start, I'm like, let's hope it comes out the way I hope it does. What was the question? Did I answer it?
It was how long it takes to do your makeup. So yeah, you did.
Oh yeah, around that time.
Who?
You asked if it's ever changed.
Right.
Yeah. So it used to be from 4 hours, 3 hours. Today was an hour and a half. I don't know. You take that information, do with it what you will.
When people tried to do your makeup, who did the best?
I'm trying to remember. I'm sitting here trying to remember who did it. Okay, so I think Katana tried it. Brittany, Katana's coworker, tried it, and Bijou tried it. And honestly, I think Bijou might have did the best because she was the most confident with it. She was like, "This is me. You've never looked better." Like Katana and Brittany were like, "This is so hard. I don't know how to do it."
I saw.
You just gotta go in and try.
Yeah, I saw a picture of Bijou and you, and it looked like you might have been doing her makeup and she did yours.
Was it? Were we at a bar and like all dressed up?
Yes.
Okay, so I don't know. I don't think that I tried to do her makeup that day, but we definitely switched outfits.
Okay, that's what it was. So
our makeup isn't that far off. You know, we do colors and crease and eye. You know, it's not far off, but
so
there's definitely a difference.
Just switching outfits is enough to almost wonder if you switch makeups. Okay. What's the longest you've ever been in drag in one day?
I would probably have to give that to. Okay, so there was one time that I did a brunch at like 11 a.m. It was 11 a.m. It was in Turlock, and I had a show that night. No, I didn't even have a show. I was just like, I'm gonna stay in drag, and I'm gonna go to the show. Sidetrack Sunday Showcase.
Okay, share.
At 8 p.m. on Sundays, and I'm gonna have a grand old time in drag. Turns out, I was in drag from I had to have started around 7:30 a.m. and I got home after 1 a.m. in the morning. So that long. Do the math. I didn't go to math school.
18 hours.
Wow. Did you really do the math?
Well, I know a girl has to do some math. So you performed in a lot of different venues. You performed in a lot of different places. What's the most interesting venue or space?
Interesting venue or space?
Mm-hmm.
I've got to say that I prefer smaller, like black boxy type of theaters.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes I like to do numbers that are very personal, that have a lot of like mouth work, that are a lot of spoken word that appeals to a smaller audience. Mm-hmm. That would have a lot more fun with that type of stuff. That is my ideal like performance space. but nothing beats like just a hall or a theater just filled with people. Nothing beats that, honestly.
Okay, so both kind of the same but very different. I can dig that.
Yeah.
Because as someone who's been on stage, also I can appreciate. Stab certainly isn't a black box. It's very bright in here, but it is a more intimate venue, and that has a lot of benefits to performing. You can just really connect with people a lot easier, and they're captive, and you know, a huge stage is also a ton of fun. So I definitely understand.
I actually got to work with Sacramento's gay men's choir, and they did a production of I wouldn't say it was like a full on stage production, but it was their version of The Wizard of Oz, and I got to play the Wizard of Oz.
Oh.
And I dressed all in green sequin, and I wore like a nice black wig with a black cape, and they gave me a script that I held on a clipboard. I did not even bother. I just was like blah 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 blah. I was drunk, and I had a microphone, and they loved it. It was amazing. It was so fun. There was a lot of people in the theater. If anybody's watching that wants me to do some little side character work, call me. I love to do it, to just make a little cameo as the Wizard of Oz. But yeah, that was a really fun time. Just, you know, random people inviting me to say some stuff on a microphone. I'll do it for a price
and
a mask.
Your information is below you on screen. I don't know if you see the Twitch feed, but your Venmo and your Instagram is down there. So if people want to contact you, they can contact you that way. What's the coolest?
Call now.
What's the coolest thing about doing drag, in your opinion?
The coolest thing would be that I get to be me, like to the fullest. I think being Julianna Budgett is being, my boy name is Ricky, is being Ricky, but like times 10. I think it's like my piece of armor. I'm just me times a million, and it's less of I don't have to be so shy. I don't have to be so timid. I get to be myself, and people like that. From what I've seen, people don't like that. You know, let me know. But
I think you're okay. I think
seen,
people like you.
People keep liking. You know, people keep liking my pictures, and you know, booking me or tagging me and stuff. It's a grand old time. I would say the coolest thing is, I would say living the fantasy, but the fantasy is just being my authentic self without any shame, if that makes sense.
I think it does. I think that that's something that people, they don't have to have done drag to understand that. It would help if they have, but some people find their authentic selves.
But they should.
Yeah, everyone should try. I'm an advocate of that. Everyone should wait tables. Everyone should try drag. Everyone should play a musical instrument. Everyone should vote for Joe Biden in November. But now I'm just saying what I wish people would do. What is the worst thing about doing drag?
Where do I begin? I could give you a top 5, but I'll do a top 3.
Okay.
1, lash glue. Waiting for lash glue to dry. Horrible. One of the worst things. I don't want to be one of those gals that use weave bond. Oh, my panties are showing. Oopsies. That use weave bond, just because, you know, I want to be a drag queen that says I use actual eyelash glue, but there's a price because it takes forever to dry. That's 1. 2 is your feet hurt all the time, and it don't feel good. And 3 would be getting in it. Honestly, getting into drag is the worst part. If I could wake up like this, if I could wake up in a different look every single morning and just wake up with like completely, I would. if I could do that, but I can't.
That's it's really interesting because we've had queens come on before and say the worst part is getting out of drag because it's so messy.
I mean, I would say so, but if I naturally looked like this, it wouldn't be so uncomfortable. It would be like, you know, what I just look like all the time.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be uncomfortable. I would say if I could take all uncomfortability out of drag, honey,
You'd be a Tu Wong Fu character?
24/7.
Live in drag.
I would be working at the 7-Eleven like this.
You and Miss Cracker. So, what is the craziest performance you've ever given?
Craziest performance. I've done some crazy ones, but I think the craziest performance was when I performed as a green alien for it was Delta Works Dirty Work. So it was in front of Delta Work herself. Delta Work and Eureka were there, and it was a little competition that I was a part of, and I was pretending to be an alien, and I had a light inside my mouth, and I was speaking alien language, and I had my wig just like tied to my head. That wig wasn't going anywhere. I was wearing plastic parachute pants, so I was sweating, and a choker. I was so uncomfortable, but bitch, I won.
Well, congrats.
But yeah, I would say that's the hardest and most craziest that I performed was that number. As you can see, I like to have like little coiffed wigs, so doing crazy stuff isn't really my gig. But every once in a while, when I put on a Liza wig, I'll give it to you. Oh my gosh, my panties.
Yeah, check them. So now you said you watched the show with Bijou, and the show has reformatted a little bit since then, and you watched the one with Aurora. Did you see where we asked Aurora rapid fire questions?
I did not. But if that's coming,
that's here. We're here. Are you ready?
We're here. Okay.
Julianna Budgett, are you ready for rapid fire questions?
I am, but let me just show you. I am in like full body for this interview.
Oh, well, do you want to give a twirl and show us?
I don't, because there's like a bunch of safety pins back there. No, there's actually not. But it would be better if I was wearing go-go boots. But I only wanted to do that so I can stand up for this rapid fire questions time.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you for
be
being full body. It's gorgeous, and I'm sure the audience appreciates it. And
just
here
for
we
you,
go.
Suzette, just for you.
Oh, thank you. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not in heels, but I'm here in a dress. Okay, rapid fire questions. What is your favorite thing about the existence of brunch?
The French toast.
Oh yeah, that's a good answer. That sounds really good. What is
or the mimosas.
Also a good answer. What is a drag name you didn't end up using?
Anne, like Anastasia. Vivian.
Okay. What is your favorite wig color?
Ooh, lavender.
Really?
Sorry, brunette. Sorry, I'm wearing you right now. Oh, she bit me. Ow! Just kidding.
Have I seen you in lavender?
Yeah, no, that was the first wig that I had ever gotten. Oh my God, this wig is too. I mean, this dress is so short. The first wig that I had ever gotten styled by Liz, who is my wig styler, contact not really Liz, was a lavender wig, and it's now in my room in the back somewhere. But yeah, I love lavender hair. I'm pretty sure you have. Maybe you just didn't. Kind of looks a little gray in certain lighting, maybe.
Oh, yeah, I think that sounds familiar. So maybe I just saw it in the wrong lighting. What was I gonna say? I think. Oh, I was gonna say. You said your dress is short. I was gonna say I think you stole it from me. What is your? Do you name your wigs?
I don't name my wigs. I'm afraid that if I name my wigs, it's gonna get a little too personal. And when I'm undressing in my room, I'd be like, I'm being watched. Like, Greta, look the other way. You know, I would have to turn them all around.
Right.
So I don't get it that personal. But they are all beautiful enough to have names. I will say that.
When you put on a bra, do you clasp it in front and spin it, or do you clasp it in back with unnatural arm movements?
Baby, I don't wear a bra.
Oh.
No,
Well,
no. Sometimes I do wear a bra. I'm not wearing a bra today because this is sheer and it would show through and it just wouldn't look cute. But I usually have it in the back, just so if I do get involved with a little bit of trade, he has something to work towards, and it's not super easy in the front, you know.
For sure. But when you put it on, do you snap it in front and spin it to the back, or do you?
Oh no, yeah, I snap it in front, spin it to the back. I want the easiest work.
Sure.
Trade has to do all the work. Yeah.
Well, that was the funny of the question. I was like, do you snap your bra in front or back? And you were like, I want Trade to work hard. And like, where?
I do that awkward. Yeah. That's also my go-to drag move. If that was the next question.
It can be. What's your go-to drag move?
Actually, it's probably this. Or a little bit of bobbing and a swaying. I wish I was wearing go-go boots. God. Okay, go ahead.
Next time. How high is
when I win, I will be wearing go-go boots when you have me on again.
How high is too high for high heels?
Okay. I know I'm in the house of heels, but I would have to say 6 inches. They're great for pictures. I love to wear high heels for pictures. But walking, a good 4-inch pump is about as high as I will go. If it's a platform, I'll do 6 inches, but 4 inches for me, personally.
No, I'm same 6-inch platform. That's my jam.
Ooh.
What is your favorite regular show to perform to?
Oh, well, I mean, there is a little bit of favoritism, but I love my Paradise Babies. My I forgot what it's called. Eves of Paradise every Thursday at 11 p.m. when it used to happen, when we weren't in this dome. Eves of Paradise or Sidetrack Sunday Showcase, just because, it's just a great venue.
On Sundays. What is your favorite venue to perform in?
Well, I wish I could say one of the... Oh, wait a second. You have had me. I was going to say, I wish I could say somewhere that you've had me, but you have had me somewhere.
I have.
That was a really fun place to perform at. What was it called again? Was it called Stab Comedy?
That's Punchline.
Punchline.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great place to perform. Just because, it had a higher stage,
mm-hmm.
and I could look down on people and they had to look up. I love a raised stage. That is the only thing that Sidetracks does not have. If it had a raised stage, I would probably prefer Sidetracks more, but
Okay, well, I could have looked bad in that question if I hadn't had booked you. What is your favorite song to perform to?
Ooh, favorite song to perform to. I have plenty of favorite songs, but I think one number that always gets me hyped if I have all my props and the right costume on is the medley from Sister Act, where she goes through 6-7 classic songs, and it's just rapid fire. I'm running around the room doing this, grabbing dollar bills, kicking, itsy bitsy teeny weeny polka dot bikini. I love that because it's high energy. It's gonna get me paid. It's a great closing number, and I have fun doing it. I'm gonna sweat, but I have fun doing it.
Okay, this is let's see, what's the funniest thing?
This is the slowest rapid fire questions I've ever had.
Well, we're chill, and you're answering long, so
No,
I'm getting lost in it.
It's my fault.
What is the funniest thing an audience member has ever said to you after a show?
The funniest thing an audience member has ever said to me after a show. You know, I don't think a lot of people have said much to me. I mean, I think it's always fun when the chasers, the drag queen chasers, they walk up to you after a number and they're like, hey, what's your name? Like, what's your number? And I'm like, this turns you on? This is it for you? I'll give you my Facebook, not my phone number, but we'll chat. I would say the guys that hit on you in drag, especially me, because I feel like I look like a clown. Yeah.
There are some drag queen chasers, and that's everyone knows. Don't friend a Facebook friend when their only mutual is Suzette Veneti.
Oh God, I was just about to say that. That is so true. Or do.
Yeah. Who is your favorite LGBTQ activist?
My favorite LGBTQ activist. Okay. Angelica Ross. She was in a Pose. She played Candy. I started following her after I saw her on Pose. She's always streaming on Instagram Live, talking to another activist about Black queer lives and how to empower them, or just how she feels. Other than Angelica Ross, who I think it's just Angelica Ross on Instagram. Also watch Pose. I love Peppermint and Bob the Drag Queen and Monet Exchange. If they come out with something on Instagram, it's a Black queer story. It's Black queer voices that I just love to listen to. And I think everybody should listen to them because they have great things to say. They're not always the most informational. Like, they're not the smartest bunch, but they are very fun to listen to. And I think everybody should listen to them.
What's your favorite item on the gay agenda?
Item on the gay agenda?
Uh-huh.
Item on the gay agenda?
Uh-huh.
That is a very odd question. Can I have an example of an answer? What's yours?
Well, so an item on the gay agenda might be bottomless mimosas for all. Yeah, it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek question.
Okay. I like a bottom full room and bottomless mimosas.
That's
because I'm a top.
Very good answer. A drag queen top.
Hard to believe.
See. What do you think COVID has affected more, the straight dating scene or the gay dating scene?
I automatically want to say the straight dating scene because gay guys don't give a fudge. But I think gay men are more willing to break quarantine. Well, I don't know. I really don't know. I think it's probably just because I am in the gay dating scene. I'm gonna automatically say gay men because that's who I'm surrounded by. Well, not surrounded by, but that's the community that I'm surrounded by on social media. It could be straight people. In my view, I think it's straight people because maybe they're not dating as much. But because the gays have not stopped living. Okay, I'll just say that.
Well, I'll tell you this as your older cousin: if you wear short dresses and high heels, you'll be surrounded by men.
Halfway there.
What's the favorite position to imagine straight people having sex in?
Straight people?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I turned on my fan. It's getting hot in here. My favorite, I don't have many. I don't have many imaginations quite like that. But I would have to say maybe the funniest is like wheelbarrow.
Oh.
That's probably the funniest. That's the one that I like to imagine the most.
What do you want to disclose what your favorite sex position is?
Oh, missionary.
This is a weird transitional question. Do you cook or bake?
I like to. I love me a good Russell Stoven's box of brownies, or a nice can of cinnamon rolls by Pillsbury Toast, Pillsbury, or I signed up for HelloFresh. It's an app, or something that they send you food to cook. That's really fun. But I don't cook or bake from scratch very often, but it is an enjoyable experience if anyone's looking for date ideas. Wink.
If someone's buying us shots at the bar after a show, what are they buying us?
If I have any say, it's a good whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just because I like to get it down and out. If I don't,
No. You do. You do. You have all the say.
Yeah. It's a whiskey. It's a whiskey.
What kind of whiskey?
Jameson.
Okay, I needed to know.
Of course.
The good. If someone's buying us,
Why are you here right now? Are you at my front door? Do you have Jameson?
No, but I want the audience to know, and that way, if you and I are ever at a bar at Shy Tracks, and someone wants to buy us shots, now they know what to buy us.
Shot.
If someone's buying us drinks, what are they buying us?
I'm probably gonna have a. Oh my gosh, it's been so long. I haven't ordered a drink at a bar since March. I would have to say a whiskey sour with Jameson, or a Long Island iced tea is my favorite.
Good choices.
Or what's the one with ginger ale?
I can't remember.
And ginger ale and gin and tonic.
No, that's made with tonic, hun.
Oh, well then not with ginger ale. I like mine with ginger ale though. Maybe it tastes like ginger ale when I have it, because I always put a lot of like lime and lemon. Anyway, go ahead. Next question.
That would be a gimlet, but I think those are good too.
A gimlet?
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I like gimlet settings, so I'll accept that.
If there's toilet paper, is it over or under?
Over. If it's under, you're a psychopath, and we cannot be roommates. I won't date you. And your shit smells bad.
Who is your favorite drag queen?
Oh, my favorite drag queen. As much as I would love to say my drag mother, because, I love her and all. I love Apple Adams. She's my favorite. She's so kind. She's so sweet. And we've never had a problem. And she's just so fun. And did I say Apple Adams? I meant to say Suzette Veneti. Oh my gosh. That's what I meant to say.
Well, it's all in the family. So, Apple's another one of my aunts.
Autocorrect changed Apple Adams to Suzette Veneti. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I don't think I can accept that over Apple, but thank you. Flattered to be autocorrected.
Well, you both deserve it. You both deserve to be somebody's favorite drag queen. I'll tell you that.
Well, thank you. You as well. And I'm sure many people would say you.
I hope so.
Who is your favorite drag king?
It has to be our local Clive Max. I mean, is there any competition? It's Clive.
Well, Clive Max has a competition show, so
he does have a and I'm in a competition with him. He's actually my competitor.
Oh, in the Into the Draglands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's my competition. So I'm as much as I love him, I don't mind, ripping him down if it means that I get to stay another week. I'll tell you that much. But we are team top 2. It's going to be me and him in the top 2. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, people can tune in. He's still in the competition. You're still in the competition. So
True. People
can tune in this week and see both of you at 8 p.m. on work.com, work with 3 R's.
3 R's.
Do you think I'm pretty?
Do I think that you're pretty? Girlfriend, would I lie to you?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
Well, that's my answer.
Good answer. Last question. Last question.
No, you're gorgeous. You're my
Thank you.
cousin. Of course.
Well, look,
it runs in the blood.
We all have some ugly cousins, so I could be one of those.
Sure do.
When all of this is over, this is the last question. When all of this is over,
Okay.
and all the restrictions are lifted, the guidelines are lifted, and we can just go to our new normal, what are you looking forward to doing?
I want to kiss a handsome man. I can't wait to just leg up, panties showing, lipstick all over my nose, face first into somebody's tongue. Honestly, it's been too long. It's been too long. I don't know. I didn't get to have. Listen, my birthday was in March. We were closed a week before my birthday. I didn't get to have any birthday fun, any summer fun. I can't wait for a vaccine to come out. I can't wait to carry a vaccine in my holster, give it to some guy, and then just, go in. Honestly.
And hopefully the vaccine is fast acting at that point.
I hope so.
Julianna Budgett, this was a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on.
This is so fun. I can't wait. I can't wait to win so I can come back. Honestly, if winning means I get to come back, that's the only reason I'm gonna win. Fuck the money, but I do need the money, so give it to me. But I do love talking to you. Honestly.
Well, I love talking to you too, and that's an honor that you would want to win a competition just to come back on the show.
I definitely do. So hit me up anytime. I'm down.
I will hit you up. We'll have you back. It was a lot of fun. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
Talk to you next time.
Talk to you soon. Love you, and be safe.
Love you too. Bye-bye.
Bye. Peers and Queers, that was Julianna Budgett. You can check out her Instagram. We provided that name. And you can send her some coin if you wish. And you can watch her on Into the Draglands with Helen Heels on work.com. That's work with 3 R's. On Wednesdays at 8 p.m. And with that, we are going to round out the show with our last contributor. We always bring him in last. Actor, producer, comic, I don't know what he's doing. Lazy bump on a couch. David Shapiro. David, are you there?
Hey, Suzette.
Hey.
Talk about the amazement of professional sports and what they've been up to this past week.
Okay.
No, really. With everything happening right now in the country, change keeps being promised, and change doesn't come. And we can go back decades and centuries, millennia, where people say they'll change and be less racist, and they don't. And you just want it. You want change to come, and it doesn't come. But the professional sports world actually is giving me hope that this time change is going to stick. Of course, professional sports ground to a halt due to the novel coronavirus, COVID-19, earlier in the year. And for a while, no one knew if professional sports was going to come back. But those of us that know about sports knew that it would come back because there's too much money tied up in it. So we knew that it had to happen. The NBA, which is being played in a bubble in Orlando, is always at the forefront of social justice and change. They've been finishing their season and starting their playoffs now for the last few weeks. And they have messages on the court. They have messages on the uniforms. The announcers are talking about the messages when they announce the games. You can't miss if you're a spectator or a fan of the NBA, you can't miss the message that the league is putting forward. But
And
there's a
what's
problem.
What's the problem?
Most fans of NBA teams are already forward-thinking and social justice activists in a way. So it's a bit of an echo chamber. The players are giving a message, change is needed, and the fans already believe change is needed. So it doesn't change much, honestly. It's just people agreeing with other people that agree with them already, which doesn't lead to change. That's what makes this so amazing. The players led by the Milwaukee Bucks this past week, stopped playing.
Why is that important?
Well, it wasn't a strike. They didn't forfeit the game. It was a stance. It was a boycott, actually. Their game against the Orlando Magic couldn't happen because they didn't take the court, which meant that the money that was spent on advertising, televising, everything about where the money is made in professional sports was gone. It didn't happen. There were no tickets sold, so they didn't even get ticket revenue. When that game couldn't be played, the Lakers and Trailblazers didn't play. And then the Rockets and Thunder didn't play. And so for a night, there was no NBA at all. It just supposed to happen, and then it didn't. And the WNBA, who's even more forward-thinking and more social justice up front than the NBA, they were really quick to join the NBA arm in arm, literally, and say, no more. We're stopping. And then baseball teams took the field, observed 42-second moment of silence for Jackie Robinson, and then walked off the field. Didn't play. And then other baseball games shut down until there was no baseball or basketball. And then football teams started canceling practice. And your favorite, the hockey, the NHL, started canceling playoff games. Sports just stopped. And this is the most unique year ever for professional sports because it's all happening at once. And all of a sudden, none of it was happening at all because the players don't want it to.
And why? Like, what? Are you there, David?
Right. So this all started because it started now, the boycott, the current boycott in sports that just happened, started because Jacob Blake was shot at 7 times in the back by a Kenosha police officer. Jacob Blake wasn't doing anything except attempting to break up a fight between 2 white women. But yeah, this is in response to that. Another senseless shooting of a black man by law enforcement. That's why the Milwaukee Bucks led the boycott, because their Kenosha, Wisconsin is near Milwaukee.
And are the leagues still boycotting? Or
well, the leagues aren't sitting out anymore. They've all resumed play. The NBA halted games for 3 days, and they talked about not finishing their season, and the players met, and teams met and with each other, and owners met, and Michael Jordan was a go-between between owners and players, and the commissioner, Adam Silver, is certainly on the side of change, and you know, what's right. So eventually it settled with the players deciding to stay, but leverage the power that they had. They are in the unique position as the workforce, all the players, which is the NBA, I think, is 78% black. They're the workforce of the NBA, and the other sports go as the NBA goes when it comes to these things. And they stopped, and they halted $1 billion industry and demanded support from owners, and they demanded social justice. They demanded votes are taken to the Senate floor. I mean, they're demanding things, it's amazing. They're demanding things that aren't even part of the NBA, and they want the owners to back them.
And
well, the owners are the richest men in the country, so it remains to be seen. I mean, Jaylen Brown, one of the Boston Celtics, has been very vocal, lending his voice and his opinions and ideas, and he's skeptical that this will actually happen, that the owners will follow through. I hope that it does, and I think the players are not done exerting their influence on this, because even if an owner says they'll do something and then not do anything, the players can still affect that.
how will they actually affect
Well,
change?
so the players, they're going to know which owners follow through on supporting them in life, you know, just supporting the fact that black people shouldn't be shot in the streets. So it's hypothetically speaking, I'm saying this hypothetically, if there's an owner that doesn't follow through, maybe players don't sign there in free agency. Maybe the players that are under contract there sit out and forfeit their contract. I don't see this being a thing that players are willing to let go for $1 million or $500,000 or. This is big, and some players have just stopped their careers to focus on efforts, and I don't. The peer pressure is going to be immense. It'll be a little bit less on players that are under contract, but I don't see new players signing at all if an owner goes back on his word. Not to mention the owners that do care about it. Well, I mean, so let me go back a second. If a team can't dress enough players and play a game, they will face penalties and forfeits, and they will lose fans, and they will lose TV deals. It will cost so much money if the players exert their influence like this. Not to mention that owners and fans are going to go to their legislature and apply pressure to bring new laws to the voting floor and influence real change on a political landscape, because we all know that you can do all the gerrymandering you want, and elected officials are going to be corrupt or just evil. But eventually, if an elected official is the person stopping a player from signing with a team or playing a game, I promise that official is going to be gone. The players have the power here, and I'm so glad that they aren't backing down.
You really think that an NBA player can affect?
So here's an example, Suzette. We live in Sacramento, California, and
Right.
Sacramento has a basketball team, the Sacramento Kings. We also have a notoriously corrupt and racist DA, Anne-Marie Schubert. Even though she's extremely terrible, she keeps getting voted in. It doesn't matter who her opposition is. There's enough support for her. Now, let's say only 60% of people voted in the general election in 2016, right? So there's a lot of people that aren't voting out there. Now, a lot of the people that might not be voting might happen to be Kings fans, right? So let's say athletes get more and more frustrated about this happening, and one of them decides to say, like LeBron James. Let's say LeBron James said, I would sign in Sacramento if the DA got voted out. Let's say he meant that, and Sacramento fans knew he meant that. She'd be voted out. She's not going to win a popularity contest against LeBron James. I think politicians are going to find out how fast they're not the popular and powerful people on the playground once they start going against athletes.
So what happens next?
We don't know what will happen for some time, because for now, the players have resumed playing, but this is, and it's a really big seed that they've planted, and it's going to keep growing, and we might not see it the rest of these seasons. We might see some effects, but some of them might happen after, like, the current NBA season concludes. But this is going to blossom into something, because, like I said, for centuries, innocent black men, women, and children have been tortured and murdered and hurt and hunted in this country, and change keeps being promised, and it doesn't come. But now, there's money on the line, and money's going to make the change happen. And I'm actually optimistic that the change will come.
Well, we all are.
Yeah, well, I think that's enough me talking. It's a little longer than usual. Sorry. Thanks for having me, Suzette, and I'll see you next week.
Sure.
All right, good night.
Wow, okay. That's David Shapiro, and his information was on the screen, and you can find him on Instagram or send him some coin. And with that, that's our show. Thanks for tuning in at 5:03. Thanks again to Stab for letting us do it at 5:03 every week. And we'll see you next week with a pretty good guest. Have a good week.
Shake it, yeah, you know what to do.
your hot shit, and ooh, I love it. I love it. Yeah, yeah. Stumble in, but yeah, you're still looking hella fun. Keep doing what you're doing, I'ma make you mine. Hot mess, and I'm falling for you, and I'm like, hot damn, let me make you my boo. 'Cause you can shake it, shake it, shake it, yeah, you know what to do. You're a hot mess, I'm loving it, hell yes. You're a hot mess, and I'm falling for you, and I'm like, hot damn, let me make you my boo. 'Cause you can shake it, shake it, shake it, yeah, you know what to do. You're a hot mess, I'm loving it, hell yes.
My name is Blurry Face, and I care what you think. My name is Blurry